Well, I had another run-in with the cops using the Wi-Fi at the library. And he's talking about something closes at 10. But plenty of people come there, honestly, at different times. Like, shoot, sometimes I go over there. This one dude would come there at like 12 to do live streams. But either way, that's not even really the point. This all really... Okay, wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to summarize this. So, I guess to make a long story short, there's this one Chomo predator guy who was, I guess, in his mind, in love with his own kids or just using them for his issues. But he's also has a romantic obsession with me, and he works at the library, although he's more so, now I'm like, I guess I could say maybe like a maintenance type person. And so, pretty much, he has a limerence obsession, well, I won't even say that, a romantic obsession with me. And he noticed me coming to the library a lot. I don't know at what point, to be honest. I don't really remember all that. But there's this other guy who's, I guess, somewhat technically homeless. I mean, he has a job and stuff. He's just like, something with his mom dying, and he's waiting for his apartment to be fixed, and like, they have to like remodel something like that. And so, anyways, the guy who has a romantic obsession with me started making up these stories in his head that I was like having sex with some random grown man whose name I couldn't even remember. And he got jealous because he wanted to get with me. And so I guess a summary of this could be like Chomo sexual predators who want to like get with me. And so he has like,
like a Mustang. Hey.
Here, I got sidetracked. Okay, wait a minute. What was I talking about? Hold up. I get sidetracked so easily. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. So, I think I was pretty much saying that, like, a summary is that I can't even really say that, like, sexual predators are fighting over me. It's not even really necessarily that. It's really just the fact that, well, this one predator guy has like a limerence obsession with me and all that different stuff. Or overall, he's a Marine Kingdom agent, like a really bad one at that. I would honestly say that these types are the worst types because they'll get you in some trouble if they don't get what they want out of you. And so, he started like calling the cops on me or whatever. Wait a minute, maybe I should just make this video in the storage unit. But, okay, no, I'm still telling this wrong. So, I didn't originally sleep outside the library. I don't now either. But I think I would sometimes, but not really because, like I said, people come there to use the Wi-Fi all throughout the night. And it just, I don't know, talk on the phone outside of there. So, there typically be like a lot of different people that would come by or even just walk through. And also, even before people actually knew that I was like homeless or whatever, it was still just a lot of racial stuff. In fact, that's also what a lot of this started off from. Aside from like the sexual predator stuff, it was what I like to refer to as the white drug projection and a whole bunch of bullcrap that happened behind that. Which I talked about that somewhere, but I'm not really sure where or what video. But so anywho, aside from that, even when I would come in the daytime before anybody actually knew that I was homeless, like, okay, wait a minute. Literally when I first got here, I didn't even know it was a library actually. I would just like sit at the benches sometimes in the morning. I didn't know it was a library or any of that. I didn't even know it was a medical center right there. And the security guards would like tell me that I wasn't supposed to be sitting there and that people weren't able to sit there. And so I started to think it was like, I don't know, some type of private thing. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that the grocery store was across the street, and I would go there sometimes, but I didn't know it was a library yet. In fact, I would say that me getting told that I wasn't allowed to sit on the benches made me think even more that like maybe this was like some type of place where I wasn't really supposed to be at, because I had never really went into either of the places, the medical center beside the library or the library. And so I'm trying to think, what else was it? Hold up. Like, I remember there was this one security guard there who he would say things to me, and I noticed that like after he started seeing me too much, and due to the fact that I had a book bag in at that point in time, I used to have my sleeping bag with me, but like in a plastic bag. And after like I would say maybe 2 or 3 days, I came there in a row, especially like after I found out that it was a library, because somebody had actually ended up telling me. Then that's when this one security guard started to like, really he didn't even say anything to me anymore. He just like stopped making any contact with me. He would just like act like he didn't see me. And then there was this other dude. Oh yeah, another maintenance dude. He's one of the usual. He did the whole thing that typically women really do, or at least guys hope that you're like a prostitute, and they'll like accuse you of being one to try to like get you to say yes because they don't want to like straight up ask. The usual manipulation stuff that people do. But luckily when I was in the Cash for Kids system and just my abuse situation in general with relatives, I learned to master manipulation. I know people call it being quote unquote sociopathic and all that other bull crap, but when you're able to actually understand when people are playing games, you're able to also play dumb and act like you don't see the games that people play. But yeah, dudes typically do that. Women, especially jealous older women, are like people with the I'm grown, you're a child complex, stop being fast even when you're not being quote unquote fast stuff. Those types of women will typically accuse you of being a prostitute or even maybe like a drug dealer or something, even though you're not. And I think a big part of it, well, not I think, I mentioned before that a big part of it is that when you're younger, people feel like there's not really a lot of things you could do to make money, so people feel like, well, you must have to like prostitute or sell drugs or something to be able to get by. But like it's really not even like that. Like, people are made to feel like they have to like do all this survival mode type stuff when you really don't. But I'm not even gonna go into that because that's so irrelevant. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, I brought that up because the maintenance dude, he was one of those whole you're gonna have to prostitute stuff. And the thing is, that's really what happens when people start to see you too much and you're in one area too long. And it's like you could literally like it's not even about being homeless really. It's really just like what people don't understand is that when people know that you obviously don't really have like parents or family, or you don't really have anybody, people play games with you regardless of whether you're in an apartment or not. In fact, being inside of a place like an apartment or a shelter really tells people, okay, this is where I go to look for them, or they're your neighbor. But I could also make a video about that. I mean, honestly, there's plenty of videos out there about stuff like that with like I don't know, different demon possessed people like jerking off in like the apartment elevators and trying to like follow women or whoever, even kids to their apartment, stuff like that. So I mean, I really don't have to go into that, but I'm not saying that like outside is the safest place, although the real thing is that being in the city or being in like areas where people are at isn't safe. Being in the woods is safe. Being like in areas where there's stores and houses isn't safe unless maybe you're in the house. So yeah, the other maintenance dude who works with this other dude on Saturdays mostly, he was actually one of the first people I think I talked to. In fact, yeah, he's the one that actually originally told other people about me. And then the couple times where I did sleep outside the library, because I'm trying to remember what it was. I had another spot, but I forgot what happened with that. I can't really remember what happened with that, I'm not gonna lie. I really don't. I think I was just like using the Wi-Fi once I found out the place was a library, and then that's when I started going there more. Also, well, no, even before that I went there to read the books, because I've always liked going to libraries. And that's kind of another thing, which is like kind of discriminatory. It's like, so even if I was in a place and I went to the library every day, just like I would want to do when I was like living with relatives or whatever, but I wasn't always able to due to like transportation stuff and different things like that. So it's like, even if I was in a place and I went to the library every day, due to discriminatory stuff, people are going to automatically feel like I'm not going there because I want to, I'm going there because I have to, even though now, like, really, I'm really still only going because I want to, not because I have to. But yeah, anywho, so that was actually the first dude, now to think about it, that I really think told people about me. But aside from that, the other, the main predatory one, I'm just gonna call him Elvis. This is gonna be all over the place as usual. I'm trying to remember where I was at though. So, I don't know, I got really sidetracked. I was still thinking about that whole whatever in the world earlier. Whatever that girl was saying. What else could I say about that? And that's why it's so weird though, because it's like, he's bragging to coworkers, well, really to different people about different things he wants to do to me and other people, or is doing to people. But it's like, it's weird that there's people trying to act like they're the hero in the situation when really it's just like a lot of, I won't say equally messed up, but people who are still have like different predatory spirits all in like one area. And it's like, I guess what people can really say is, oh, well, he's saying he's doing stuff with his kids, or he has done stuff to his kids, so like, okay, yeah, he's more messed up than I am, so now I can step back. That's what it also is. But I still haven't really told the main story. Okay, so supposedly Elvis, okay, hold up, no, Elvis will sometimes see me in the morning, and that's pretty much when he started to like really more so see that I was out there, other than like the staff in the library who like I don't know, they already had like problems with different people for no reason, really just due to like some racial stuff that didn't even have anything to really do with me, but just the fact that I was like homeless and I would go there pretty often, that was like enough for them. But overall, this is mostly about Elvis. It's not even really about the security guards or anybody else, which reminds me, I forgot to say, this other security guard, I remember this one time where she was like, how long are you going to be sitting on the benches? And I was like, well, the library opens in like 10 minutes. And she was like, okay, good, so I'm not going to see you when I walk back around. But apparently, the other dude who's waiting for his apartment to get fixed or whatever, his nephew was like their supervisor or manager or something, or at least like for the security company, which I've already talked plenty of times about Abbott Outlaw and these different people and how they are and what they're really for. But him, the supervisor, nephew dude, and even other co-workers of these people have said that really it's not their job to tell people that they're not supposed to be sitting in public places. It's not their job to do a lot of things that they've been doing to a lot of people, even like some other kids that they will like do stuff to and some other stuff with that. And so yeah, so I guess like they've been lying about stuff, but I also mentioned in some other video, like, some situation with some white dude who was on drugs that broke the window to, like, get some candy from, like, some, I don't know, what is it called, cabinet or something in the medical center. And so they put up a no loitering sign instead of just, like, arresting him and charging him. And so this goes into the whole thing that I like to call the white projection. And to summarize this is, like, it's a couple different levels to this. There's a level where, like, people in these mostly white areas where they're, like, all on, not all, but, like, where a lot of people have been on hardcore drugs for forever, and they call it being a hippie, will, like, act like, it's a quote-unquote homeless drug crisis, even though really they've been had a drug crisis, and they've been overdosing since the 2010s and before, but they don't report it, they don't publicize their statistics. They do more drugs statistically, but they keep it a secret. I think I already mentioned the whole hippie thing. And so, like, there's the other side where, they act like all places have, like, the severe, hardcore, multiple different drug use issues that they have. Also, where they act like, all people who are homeless are on drugs, although I know a lot of people have this like mindset, but I would definitely say that the whole white drug projection has put the icing on the cake with this. Also, the idea that I've seen a lot in the West Coast that whenever they notice that like melanated people aren't like doing 95 different drugs or even aren't using substances at all, they will like get mad and they'd be like, there's no way that we're doing fentanyl, meth, heroin, cocaine, Xanax, Percocets. What else do they do? I don't even know all the different things. But they would be like, there's no way that we're doing all these different drugs and you really don't use. You have to use drugs because there's no way that we're only doing it. This is something that I ran into a lot. This is something that plenty of people I know did and have ran into a lot. Not even going to go into that, but yeah, so pretty much they got mad because like some different situations with like these two white people like crapping everywhere and like doing a lot of stuff, and so they would like project their anger onto like different melanated people, even ones that weren't homeless, and they'd be like, well, I mean, I don't want to say anything to them and then not say anything to you guys for just existing. So yeah, there's that side to it too. This, like I said, this is going to be all over the place, but there was that situation, and supposedly that's what like led to them trying to like pretend that people aren't allowed to sit on the benches, even like in the daytime. And so that's why the whole situation that just happened is even more interesting, with the cop claiming that like the property closes at 10, because not just because other people come there way later than that, but also because like they do act like it's not even open in the daytime either. And I guess it goes back to the thing, which is that when people know that nobody gives a crap about you, they're gonna do pretty much whatever they want to do to you, regardless of like whether they're just like harassing you for fun. Although, like I said, this all really started off of like some sexual stuff. So anyways, back to Elvis. So Elvis has been bragging about him like, I don't know, wanting to do stuff to like different women that work with him or work like in the surrounding areas. Aside from him like telling a lot of different people a lot of different things about me that just aren't true, a lot of different made up sexual things that he like formed in his head that aren't true. Aside from like him being in love with me, different other things like that. And pretty much he's the one that started calling the cops and telling them to like look for me, and even sometimes look for the other dude, although he's not really around that much because he goes to work and stuff. So pretty much they're just looking for me all the time. And so he's been having the cops like help him pretty much sexually harass me. Kind of like the thing I mentioned like a couple of days ago, where like cops claim they have videos of me naked for some reason. And I already had somebody tell me that like that's something that cops will say to people pretty often to just like try to scare them, and it's like just like weird stuff they'll make up. And it's like, okay, but if you did, why and how and where? It's like, where have I even been naked? So it's all just like really weird bull crap. And so the Elvis dude told the cops to like listen out, because apparently there's like a police department type thing near the library, and it's like pretty much like, I guess I could say right there, which I didn't know that till a while after the fact of all this. But apparently they can like hear over the wall who's like at the library, and so the Elvis guy, quote unquote, told him to like listen for me if I'm ever in the area and see who's back there. He also tells the cops that people are sleeping there when really people aren't sleeping there. And it's like there's a lot I could say about that, really. That would probably like go into a 19-hour long rant. But he's been telling the cops that like people are sleeping there, at least that I'm sleeping there when I'm not, and just a lot of different stuff. I don't really know if he's telling them like any of the sexual stuff he's made up in his head, but one thing I can say though is that apparently before I came, the two white people who were on drugs that I mentioned earlier were like having sex outside one day by like the sidewalk, and the cops said they can't do anything because it's public property. But the medical center people are saying that they should be able to do something, but the cops are like, nah, we can't do anything because it's public. And it's like, okay, so it's public property when people are having sex outside, but it's not public property when people are sitting on the benches or just like going to the library, even walking through the parking lot to like, I don't know, go to the shopping center, up the road, whatever in the world. It's like, okay. And then these two dudes, which really is it's really like a turnout situation, which is a whole nother story with like some dude who's like 70 and then some dude who's like 30. And pretty much the younger one's been getting used, but that's a whole nother long story that isn't even really the point, I guess. But so they were doing not very much consensual sexual fiascos, I guess I could say, at the library. And this was like a week or two ago. And of course the cops were just watching with the headlights on in broad daylight. And that's how you know the cops were liking it, because why do you have the headlights on to watch that in broad daylight? And they typically do sit in like the parking lot of the library, like in the back, which I guess maybe that would technically be the front, but people come in through the back because of like how it's set up. And so sometimes like a lot will sit there. But that's why before I went out of town for a while, I just started like going to the other side of town. But then the other thing is that also if I go to the other side of town, then like the places that I need to go to, I can't go to. Like the store, different places that give out food, which I didn't find out about till a while later. But also when I first came to this town, I didn't have any bus money, so that's another story. But yeah, so pretty much the cops didn't actually harass people or anything like that. Like, this is the one place I could be at where like the cops didn't just find a reason to bother me just because they would see me like walking around too much. But the one that just told me that the property closes at 10, he said something to me that I've been told before in I think Cali maybe. And he was like, I see you around all the time and I'm tired of seeing you, and you need to like find something to do during the day because I see you walking. And of course, whenever you're told something like that, one, that means you're being watched. Not that I already didn't know that, but that means you're being watched. That's also technically a threat to your freedom and your life, because that means like, okay, we're tired of you existing. And there's something else with that. I don't remember what I was about to say. And that's the thing, there's like a lot of like chomo, sexual predator, Marine Kingdom agents pretty much everywhere. And I was going to make a whole video about like stuff with like shelters, them not being safe. Not that there's any beds open anyways, but I wouldn't stay there anyways, because it just wouldn't be safe for a lot of reasons. Aside from like stuff with staff. But this lady was actually telling me about how the Catholic charities and like the Catholic church and different things like that, and different people that work under them are like indicted for human trafficking and even drug trafficking. And you know, one thing I noticed about this place, once I found out about like the shelter place and them giving out food and stuff and how you could like shower there, aside from the usual sexual predator stuff, which really that's everywhere, you really can't go anywhere without that, but aside from that, I noticed that like people come there in the morning and even like throughout the day, like just driving around looking for different people to like drag into sex traffic or pros traffic, different stuff like that. Also another situation where some dude in like some expensive sports car pulled up out the blue when I was just like sitting outside. I was sitting outside the shelter waiting for the bus, and he was like, okay, so you ready to make this money? And he was talking about okay, so I'm going to make you a fake ID, and then you're going to use it to get a bank account, and I'm going to send you some money, and then you're going to accept the money, and then you're going to send it back to me, and then I'm going to get $7,000, and then a whole bunch of stupid bullcrap that wasn't making sense, of course. Usual manipulation bullcrap. And of course he was definitely very demon possessed. Like, I don't know, he's giving like Nature Boy vibes, or maybe I can't remember if it was P2K or if it was ATM, but the dude I mentioned in my last post that that was mentioned like near the end of the BJ Investigates video, that dude, the dude who was like doing that usual like demon possessed, like I'm gonna scream to try to scare people and I don't see anything wrong with anything I do type I don't know, persona, I guess I could say. But that's definitely the far end of the spectrum, although I usually refer to this type of character traits, I guess I could say, as the down low, effeminate thug persona, which also can have like sexual predator and even chomo a fibophile, different things like that tied into it. But anywho, that's what the dude was like. He had that type of like persona. And then he was like, yeah, I guess you want to stay broke and you don't want to make this money. I hate when people that are manipulative do that. Like, just like with the sexual predators and the chomos, they'll be like, I'm trying to think of an example. Kind of like that priest in Santa Cruz that was like, you're a beautiful 13-year-old and I'm not going to let you tempt me with your prostitution. And what else did he say? You're just not ready for change. And when you're ready for change, let me know. And it's like, I don't really have a reason to be desperate enough or to even feel like I'm in survival mode to even really do any of that stuff. But I also know that all of it is a demonic ritual and it doesn't go anywhere good. But like soul ties and losing your soul, becoming Jezebelic, I guess become the stereotypical black woman. But either way, none of that is like, none of it's really worth it. But I would still say though that even with all the like risky side people and the Catholic Church being indicted for trafficking, which I guess maybe that's the Catholic Church as usual, aside from all of that, and some of the staff supposedly going into hiding so they're not like charged or something, it's like the cops are still the main threat regardless of like everybody else and all the side background noise people. Because, I mean, like a lady was saying, and like a lot of people that I guess I could say are, like, kind of known as being, like, prophetic, I guess I could say, and who, like, talk about men especially, and women, but men especially, and, like, sexual predator spirits getting worse and less spirits and all that. They talk about, like, men going into judgment and different things like that because of, like, different things that a lot of guys are doing or are into. I don't even know what I was saying at this point. After, like, the last stutter. What was I saying? Hold up. Oh, yeah. So this lady was like, you really can't go anywhere without being hit on. Although, I don't even like the term getting hit on. Like, I feel like getting sexually assaulted and getting hit on is two different things. And it's like, I mean, if they weren't, like, I don't know, all elderly or just, like, grown men and women, then I guess maybe I could consider it being, well, not I guess. I could consider it being hit on, but, like, I don't know though. It's like even with that, it's kind of like I was telling the cops. I mean, if you guys got to come correct. You can't, if you want to get with me, you got to come correct. But I really got to stop though before they like try to use that to arrest me or like say that I'm just like, I don't know, insane or something. That I wish, but honestly, I really don't wish. I really wish people would fix themselves and stop being sexual predators, or predatory in general. That's what I really wish. But I don't know though, cause like the cop that just like came and cursed me out, like I don't know. If I haven't learned anything, it's like I don't know if it's like the hormone warfare, or like the food and like the dudes having high estrogen and the women having high testosterone. But if I have not learned anything else throughout my life, it's that dudes who have hips are always sexual predators. People can say whatever they want to say, but I mean, I guess I can't speak for like everybody, but I mean, come on now. It's like the patterns. I could definitely say he has more than hips though, but maybe that'd be a compliment to him. And then another thing is that cops and military, all those different people, they go through MK Ultra. For one, they have to do a personality test, at least the cops, to even get hired. So like they hire messed up people, and then like since it's a Mason branch, it's a branch of Freemasonry, they pick up all these sexual predator spirits and all that stuff, and it just makes them worse. And people think it's a racial thing. I mean, sure, that's a part of it, but like really no, I don't even see the racial side. I see the fact that like these people are child molesters and stuff, and they're sex traffickers. That's what I see more than even the racial side, which I mean, most of the racial stuff on the news is like fake and staged anyway, so that's kind of whatever. So, I'm trying to get back to the point because I don't think I really finished the point. But the point is, Elvis is mad because he wants to rape me, and he's mad that in his mind I'm like having sex with some grown man at the library, because I guess everybody else is having sex at the library, so I am too, I guess. I don't know, but due to that, and him being jealous and him being obsessed with me, he started calling the cops and telling them to come look for me because I'm loitering and a whole bunch of other bull crap. And so now they specifically run around town. Well, I won't say run around town. I'll say run around this area, which I guess maybe is running around town, looking for me to like harass me and like threaten to throw me in jail. In fact, even put this lady in danger who recently came around. She's like elderly, and to make a long story short, the usual foster kid story, and she was in some bad rental situation, and so she had to leave that, and she's trying to like move back here. Well, not necessarily in this place, but at least in LA, I'll say, in Louisiana. But she's here in the area now, and so it's like the cop thing is causing a lot of issues even for her. And then a recent situation, this other lady said that Elvis said something about me and something about my age, and then he started like smiling really big, and then he went into a closet, and she said that like that's her first experience she's ever had with him, and she really doesn't even know him, and just from that she now refers to him as a pervert. And so the cops are helping this dude who essayed his own kids try to essay me, I guess I could say, or at least harass me. That's like a better description of it. And I don't know if I have anything else to say about that. That's a summary, and like I do have the videos of like his face and stuff now, cause like since I spent all those years recording the abuse evidence videos for, I guess, maybe no reason or just to look back on them, I guess. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, kind of reminds me of that thing my mom's boyfriend said once as like a sarcastic insult. But it was honestly good advice. He was like, since you recorded all these videos throughout the years, the 1,950 plus abuse evidence videos, I guess you might as well become an investigative journalist. And it's like, honestly, I might as well. I mean, I had the Voodoo Cult Lady videos, which actually that happened behind the cops too. I have that. I have the part 1 re-uploaded, but I forgot to re-upload the part 2. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. But then it's like, because of how I had to like hide my phone and record, it's so muffled. You can kind of hear her going into her like paranoid rant, but not really. But I still had the part 1 where like I'm actually in her house and the whole situation is going down. The cops forced me into that. The cops and other what I like to call let me help you lunatics. And I have a couple videos about what I like to call the let me help you lunatic complex. I keep forgetting to make a video about the Veronica complex. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of shaky. It seems like I get shaky every time I talk about this subject, but I guess maybe that's like a trauma thing. I don't know. So I guess maybe this is going to be another thing I'm going to have flashbacks about years later down the line. And it's kind of funny though. It's kind of like the Slab City situation I have a couple of videos about. I wouldn't even consider that traumatizing. It definitely wasn't like, I didn't see what I wanted to see, but I don't know what I was expecting to see. And it's like, even now, because they had the like Oasis coffee bar, now whenever I see the word Oasis anywhere, like I kind of get a little shaky. And it's like, some situations you don't really see how they affect you till after the fact. But I guess maybe that's life or something. Like, I was making this joke earlier with somebody, and I was like, that's just how life is. Sometimes you get raped, sometimes you don't. I haven't been raped, though, but I'm just saying, like, or at least, well, not technically, not out here. Not in a, well, I don't know. I guess I could go back into that story. But I would say, like, I guess if it has to entail penetration, then the Job Corp situation with like the bipedal doctor, it's not necessarily rape, but it definitely was molestation. But I still feel like, I don't know, he shouldn't be working there. But I don't trust any medical professional. I never did. As I always say, medical professionals, this is not coming out right. Medical professionals and law enforcement of all types, Abbott Allied, Garda World, Tri-Met Security, military, of course, CIA, FBI, COINTELPRO, Nardwar, because he's COINTELPRO. What's that other dude's name? I think Charleston White, if I'm saying it right, he's COINTELPRO. All those people, It's all the same. Manipulation, gaslighting, projection, derailing, frame blame, accuse you of stuff. Whenever you ask them a question, they're not going to respond. They're just going to curse you out. They're going to act like they don't know what you're talking about. It's just the spirits you pick up, really, when you're, like, in these organizations. And also the types of people that typically go for this. Like, I don't believe in the whole sociopath label. As far as, like, people who actually would get diagnosed with ASPD, it's not like what people think it would be. It's not like the little horror movie, news Manchurian candidate, Delta assassin type people. Which I'm not going to go into that again, but anyways, the point is, I seen a comment somewhere, and somebody was like, quote-unquote sociopaths or quote-unquote psychopaths from rich families become doctors and lawyers, but quote-unquote psychopaths and sociopaths from poor families they just go to jail. So yeah, the rich ones become doctors and lawyers and etc. The poor ones go to jail or prison. And I don't know if I have anything else to say about that. But yeah, so apparently, like, I don't know. Elvis has just been talking a lot about me behind my back. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, kind of like how Lucifer has an feminine frequency. It's kind of like how this Elvis guy is. And I think maybe, or I would say, I don't know. People say toxic masculinity, but I don't really believe in toxic masculinity. That's really a term rooted in white supremacy. I'd rather say, like, false masculinity and false femininity, which is really, like, everywhere. Like, the Jezebel spirit is the false masculinity and false femininity. But, like, I would say the Elvis guy, just because of, like, how predatory people are, it's, like, a lot of games he plays where, like, you know, he won't really say anything to me directly. And that's kind of just, like, how predatory people are, because, like, it's kind of like, a lot of people, I don't know. People, it's not even really about playing stupid, I guess. It's about people assuming that I'm stupid because I'm younger. And so they feel like I don't know things. Although, as I've always been told, I understand more than most grown people do. And, it's like he smiles in my face and he says hey to me whenever he sees me. And then he, like, spreads all these weird, crazy sexual fiasco, all made up in his head rumors about me to the cops and whoever else. And it's like, I don't know. It's like people have their own version of me, and I live rent-free in the sexual predators or different Marine Kingdom agents' heads. And it's like, they really have this, like, film going, this snuff film going of me in their head, I guess I could say. But yeah, so there's that. And so now the cops come looking for me, and it's like I gotta go to the other side of the town. But then they're like, it's just like, it makes things kind of hard though, because then it's like I'm not near the things I need to be around. But yeah, so I don't know what to say about that. And I mentioned somewhere, I think in that post I made, that it seems like, I don't know, they act like they have cameras in the bathroom, but it's like, who's naked in the bathroom though? But the Elvis dude and the cops, they act like they have, like, hidden cameras places. There's also that, which that's kind of a side thing that revolves around things that Elvis has said about other random people, like the women that work around him. In fact, this guy told me that somebody made, like, a statement, not like a legal statement, but like they just said something about how, like, Elvis was supposed to, like, unlock the door for the auditorium type thing in the library, but he unlocked the door for somebody that was having an event, but then he, like, went in there to just, like, stare at the women for like 50 minutes. So it's like, he's not doing his job, he's just, like, staring at people pretty much. And honestly, he really isn't doing his job. And he's been, like, reporting his coworkers who actually are doing their job to, like, I guess make himself feel better about things. It's kind of like, I don't know, like a guilt and shame type thing. Like, I'm doing a lot of things I shouldn't be doing, so, like, let me project and frame other people so I can feel better and make myself look like I don't know, the head snitch in charge or something, which I can't even really call him a snitch because, like, the things he's quote-unquote snitching about are all, like, fantasies in his head that aren't happening, so I don't even know. But, like, he's been telling people that me and some random grown man have, like, been together because he's jealous of the dude, because, like, I don't know, we talk because we're, like, in the same area pretty often, at least sometimes, and it's, like, I don't know, it's like, so if I started talking to somebody else, in fact, no. That's another thing I mentioned before. People like these sexual spirits, they like have these stories going on in their head, kind of like how could I put it, like the Jezebelic and Leviathan's filled abusive parent, or I guess I don't know, abusive partner, but more so parent, like they don't know anything true about you, so they like have this like lie in their head about who you are when they try to like, kind of like Ramco, they try to like make you become something that you're really not. Or I guess really this whole like MK Ultra will work, but like they have this idea that, how do I even put it? Kind of like how people with the sexual predatory spirits will act like, I don't know, like a 5-year-old not groom them, is like, what's the word? Hold up. Okay, the word is seductive. I was saying groomed. I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't think that's similar, but kind of like how sexual predators will be like, yeah, the 5-year-old was being seductive and she was smiling at me, stuff like that. Or kind of like how sexual predators really do on a daily basis. Like, I noticed that I'm really, I guess I could say, maybe dissociated, I guess. Not even really like in a bad way, but like I'm always thinking about something else, and I'm also usually smiling. And I noticed that like people with the sexual predatory spirits, they feel like I'm smiling because of them, or like everything has something to do with them and somebody wanting to like have sex with them, or I guess maybe get raped by them. And so they feel like, oh, you're smiling because you want to get with me and you're looking at me, but really I'm not looking at them. I'm thinking about something else, or maybe I'm like barely even looking in their direction. That's what it's like here. It's kind of like in his head I'm like sleeping around and I'm like a hoe or something. But I feel like a lot of toxic people, they just have like these certain, kind of like judgmental people, actually, I guess I could say. But I don't even know if it's really like, I don't even know if I can consider this being judgmental. Because it's like they base everything off of like, not even like signs or things they think they see about a person, but like just things that only exist in their head, really. So it's like, in his head, I'm having sex outside the library. In the police's head, I'm apparently butt naked at the grocery store. I don't know. And I feel like, I mean, honestly, with all the bullcrap, like, okay, so like, if I already get arrested every 3 months for existing, I feel like if I actually was butt naked at the grocery store, I'd probably be in jail. They'd probably be like, the report would probably say black woman butt naked at the grocery store. But I don't know. I guess like, yeah, so, spiritual warfare, I guess that could be the title of this video. If I could even, or maybe I could call it, sexual snuff films that only exist in people. Nah, I can't even title it that. That's too long of a title. I don't know what I'd title it, but maybe I could call it delusional. Maybe I could say, sex delusions. I don't know. Sexual delusions that people have in their head about me and about other people around them, that, including their own kids, that only exist in their head. In fact, the dude, I had got some info out of him, because I also had to learn how to do this as well in my previous Cash for Kids system situations and different things like that. Even things that I learned from like my I guess I could kind of maybe possibly say my ex, who was being trafficked by the U.S. military. He taught me some things also about this. But anywho, when I was getting info out of him, what I got out of him is that pretty much his kids really don't even deal with him. Like, his son lives with him, but he tries to avoid him as much as possible. His daughter pretty much got out of there. Although I do know that with the way trauma works is that, especially with like sexual abusers and like trauma, it becomes repressed memories, but also typically they only abuse you up to a certain age, but it depends on the situation. But like, they'll abuse you till you're like, I don't know, 10, and then like they'll stop, and then it'll become a repressed memory, so you won't even remember that it happened, but you'll still have like the issues that come from that, because of course all abuse is a demonic ritual. So there's that side, but I know like sometimes with other types of abusers, they start abusing you at 12 typically. It could be younger, but 12 is really common, and then it gets really, really bad, then they calm down for a little bit, then it gets really, really bad, then they calm down for like 2 months, then they take a break for like 6 months, and they start again, stuff like that. And that's for like really different types of abuse, but so yeah, I got that out of him, and supposedly he has a wife, but I guess they always do, but I'm not even going to go into that because it's already like pretty long. And I guess this is my summary of the current fiasco. And I don't even know if I could even call it a fiasco, but I guess that's typically what I call like spiritual warfare situations. But like I said somewhere else, pretty much as long as like you don't really have anybody and you're like, I don't know, seen as like the lower person on the caste system in the totem pole, you're always gonna like have a different not ideal things happening. It's gonna be like a lot of spiritual warfare and people feel like they can just do whatever they want to you. And so that's that, pretty much.